All right, let's see what Bruce has to say about the unique, and then we'll get into it. You made it, A3. You made it. All right. Bruce says there is no difference between such enlightenment and what is ordinarily termed knowledge. For in the latter, a contrast exists between the knower and the known, whereas in the former, there can be no such contrast. And now we shall have enlightenment and knowledge about my unique. We need to change the music though. Music is not appropriate for this reveal. This, however, is a little too loud. There we go. All right, what do I want to show first? Okay. Throw me out 2 elements of the 3 elements. Give me 2 of the 3 elements. The first 2 I'm going to take. Fire and ice. Like it. Okay, ready? There it is. I probably should have waited for the music to pick up. A little late on that. Whoops. A little early, actually. Pretty early. All right, let's talk about it. Zoom in. Oh, actually, you know what I'm going to need to do? I'm going to do this. Aha! Now I can talk about it. You don't get distracted by it. I can zoom in, actually. Let's talk about what this does. All right. This thing is fucking... So, this is a catalyst called the Scales of Atera. It has a couple of features. Let's go through the easiest ones first. It is on. The unread scroll. The most powerful of all the catalysts. You wish you could read? With the highest spell crit strike chance and intelligence. It has elemental resistance built in up to 24%. It has attunement and intelligence. So then, you can use it both for mage or for primalist. It has increased cast speed up to 16%. But here's where the magic happens. Here's where the magic happens, and we will make it a little bit bigger so you can see it. If you cast a cold spell, you are granted cold infusion with a 20-second cooldown. Cold infusion gains a stack every second. Each stack grants 8% more cold damage and 6% less fire and lightning damage for 10 seconds. Reaching 10 stacks of cold infusion applies cold overload for 10 seconds, granting 80% less cold damage and removing all cold infusion and fire or lightning overloads. Now, should you cast a fire spell, you're granted fire infusion with a 20-second cooldown. Fire infusion gains a stack every second. Each stack grants 8% more fire damage and 6% less cold and lightning damage for 10 seconds. Reaching 10 stacks of fire infusion applies fire overload for 10 seconds, granting 80% less fire damage and removing all fire infusion and cold or lightning overloads. Does anyone... Can you guys figure out what this is doing? Yeah. Iaro just did. Dual elemental. Arts 11 to 10, I agree. I agree. It's a WoW druid. Zolak knows. It's balanced druid from World of Warcraft. Oh, it's the same general idea. All right, so here's how it's going to work for you. Should you choose to use this unique, its objective, its goal for you is to allow you to switch between 2 elements that in a way that if you use it skillfully, you will do more damage with both, but only if you use it skillfully. If you use it unskillfully, you'll actually do less damage. If you cast a cold spell, you will begin to build up more cold damage over 10 seconds, up to a maximum of 80% more cold damage. But as you do that, your fire damage decreases. You will do less and less fire damage until you hit that 10-second point, at which point it will reset all of the cooldowns, including the less fire. Now you can, except for one thing. Oh yeah, well, there's one thing. Except you have a cold debuff on you. 80% less cold damage. you get a cold overload. So now you have to switch to fire and do the same thing. And you have to keep track. Yes, this is skilled play. Sorry, Jer. You have to have some skill. It's not like a crazy amount of skill, but you have to, you know, be able to keep track of what you're doing. If you start to like tunnel vision on cold, all of a sudden you're doing shit damage. See the stats above your skill bar? You will see the stats above your skill bar. It does have buff icons and numbers telling you how many stacks you have. It has debuff icons. You can keep track of this on your UI. You can roll it with 2 out of 3 elements. Yes, but so here's cold and fire, right? What if you wanted to be fire and lightning? What if you want to be fire and lightning? There's a different one for that. What if you wanted to be lightning and cold? There's a different one for that too. You can do any of them. You just have to find the right one. Drop rates will be split between combinations. Yes. You will have to get the right one. You will have to farm for it. It is a level 62 item. This is meant to be a build enabling item. If you want to use 2 elements in a druid, well, not druid, a primalist or a mage, this is meant to let you do it. It's something that's never been realistically doable. Did I not show cold and lightning? We're not showing cold and lightning now? Is this not cold and lightning? This is cold and lightning. Yeah. What about poison? Sorry, it's only elemental damage. It's only elemental damage. Physical is not an element in our world. Sorry, not in Terra. What was I saying? I was saying something about it. There was something else I wanted to mention. Now I've completely lost track. Oh yeah. So in the 2+ years I played, you never wanted to dual elements, right? You never wanted to do that because it was always worse. You've got your pen, you've got your shred, you've got shock. You've got to split all your gear for it. You've got to take up another skill slot. You can't go with an AoE and single target like you can if you do multi-element. This is meant to combat that problem so that you can choose to go multiple elements if you want to. Hopefully it works. The devs are a little queasy on it being so much more damage because it goes up to 80%, but I think this is the right number. I think any less and it's not strong enough. But we shall see. You want to be an airbender? Where's wind? Shadows. How is void not an element? Can you imagine if I tried to get them to do every single element in the game? I had to bargain for that number? Bargain's one word. Yeah. Beg is another word. It's an additive multiplier? No, it's a multiplier. That's a more damage multiplier. That's not added. That's not increased. That's more damage. You start like 100 and then go down. No, we had to go up. We had to go up on it. Well, that was actually the thing that I had to convince them of the most. There's a lot going on here, right? Like they had to do completely new icons for this. They had to make 3 separate uniques. They did a lot of things that I wasn't sure that they were going to be willing to do, and they did them, you know, without much pushback. The only thing they were a little queasy on was how much more damage I said I was going to need. What did it look like before I brought DHG? It was just a concept in my head. That's all it was. Just a concept. They did a lot of like offering me suggestions of like where it should go. At first I was thinking this should probably be a ring. They're like, well, if you make it a ring, people can double it up and that'd be bad. Like, oh yeah, that's a good point. We don't want to do that. So we ended up with a catalyst, which is also really cool because it's a slot that it's not like a whole lot of people, like there's not a whole lot of like amazing uniques in that slot. It's not taking away from much. Why attunement? So you can play with Primalist. Looks great. Thank you, Perry. Appreciate it, man. Yep, so you can play with Primalist. She's a blindfold. You don't trust her to keep her eyes closed. Scales of Orb is going to have Void Necrotic Poison. That'd actually be pretty sick. Although it won't have Necrotic because Void hates Necrotic. But I could see it being like Void Poison. That'd be cool. Let's see, did I miss anything else? Hey, Zolak, thanks so much for giving the sub, man. Much appreciated. Congrats, Crembo. Eyes are closed for PoE tribute. Close your eyes and slam. Void rot poison. Doom. Rot is void itself. That was Doom, actually. I appreciate it, Quiet. We both now have uniques going into this this patch. If you haven't seen Quiet's already, his is ridiculous. It's so strong. Any other questions on it? Anything else that I missed? I think we've covered it. By the way, I'll post this stuff in Discord in a bit, and I've got one that's got all three together. So if you want to see what they all look like side by side, they're all the same except for which elements they have, and you can see like in the 2D art it does show you too, which I think is really sick. I'm hoping that makes it into 3D art eventually. Made my unique reveal better. Yeah, you sure did. You have a question? Go for it. Yes, incoming on September 3rd. On September 3rd, you will be able to farm this. Gambleable. Yes, it is gambleable. It's not meant to be like a super rare item, where like it's not like the kind of chase that Quiet's got. Since this is a build enabling one, where his is like this is like best in slot for a lot of builds. This one technically is too, but it's meant to enable builds that you otherwise wouldn't be able to play or play very well. And so I do want this one to be relatively accessible. It's still going to be like you're gonna have to work for it, and of course you have 3 variants, so to find the variant you actually want is going to be harder than, you know, typical. Because like if you're trying to gamble for this, you might get, you know, the fire lightning one, or you might get the cold fire one. It'll just depend about how it's acquired. Yeah, no one did. So yeah, it is a random world drop and gambleable. That's it. It doesn't show up on any bosses, anything like that. It doesn't have a what do you call it? Corruption requirement or anything like that. Not very appropriate as related to the unique. I'm concerned. That's on Red Scroll. Yeah, that was one of the things that, like, at first she's like, hey, why don't you make like a word per second one? I'm like, no, it's gonna be crit strike. You love unique stuff, different versions. Me too. That was the part that I also thought that they would not do, but I didn't know any other way to make it without doing like the variations, and they actually were okay with it. They decided to go ahead and make the 3 variations, which was really awesome. So there we go. What if you did something on it to make Ward good again? That was what they suggested too. At which I responded, "That's your job." Yeah, this is not meant to make Ward good. It's meant to make damage good. So I thought the spell crit was a lot more fitting to this than the Ward would have been. Okay. Thanks, guys. I thought that went pretty well. No one completely slammed it. So yeah, I'm gonna be really curious to see people play it, because I don't know if there's another unique that actually requires you to completely change the playstyle. Like if you started off with just a single element and then you switch to this, even if you were playing double elements, like you have to play this a particular way if you want to get the most out of it, right? There's definitely a skill list. It's not a high skill ceiling, but like no one's gonna play this perfectly. I guarantee you no one plays this, not even Lizard, because you can't, or else you'll die, because like you're watching your stacks, of course, and you're trying to get the most damage out of it, but sometimes you just can't cast when you want to. And so there's definitely a skill level it's not going to be hard to do good with it, but there's a lot of nuance to get it to be like get the absolute most out of it. Almost missed it. Hey, BMAP. First unique with variation that you can think about. Yeah, I think it might be. Give it a 3rd element for a filler. You could, but you don't need a filler. Like there's no point in the unique where you will do less damage if you're casting the right unique or the right element at that time. It's just a matter of, okay, I'm at 80%. Can I actually cast anything right now, or do you need to run away from something, right? Is there a telegraphed attack that's about to hit me? And so instead of getting the maximum damage on it, I just need to get away. That's where I think a lot of the skill is going to come in. Can you time up your attacks with what's happening with the enemy and also not like be casting the wrong element at the wrong time. The hardcore debate, max your damage output and die, it's so evil. Extra like it can be, yeah. Like if you get like super tunnel visioned on, I need to hit that, like when I'm at 80%, I need to hit that 80% more damage stack. And then you're just not paying attention, and all of a sudden, you know, you get one shot by one of the spinny boys or something. Yeah, you're gonna pay for it. Thanks, Drew. Is it like having a baby? I've never had a baby, so I don't know. It is pretty cool. It feels really good to get it out there and to talk about it. So I've been working on this for, you know, quite a while now. It's good to finally have it out there so you guys can see it. I'm really and I'm really happy that you guys seem to really like it.